of Iran says death to America, why doesn't that concern you?
Okay, that's a chant. And by the way, I want to be very clear. Why are they chanting death to America? Why are they chanting that? That's kind of a random thing. Like, I don't wake up one day and go like, dead? But why do they want... Why are they specifically chanting as opposed to saying, I don't know, death to China or death to Russia? What is it specifically about America?
Well, they say death to America, death to Israel, death to the United Kingdom, actually.
Oh, okay.
Death to pretty much anyone that wants to stand up to them.
Could have had something to do with our actions in the Middle East is why I'm saying that we need a change in foreign policy. And maybe it has something to do with just like killing 1 million Iraqi civilians, okay, because Bibi Netanyahu got on a congressional stage and said there are weapons of mass destruction. And we took that to the bank and there actually were no weapons of mass destruction, so we just killed 1 million. It could have something, I could be crazy, it could have something to do with our actions in the Middle East. The fact that we have 2,000 troops stationed in Syria right now under the guise of saying that we're fighting ISIS, while at the same time we know that Bibi Netanyahu funded the Al-Qaeda adjacent front because he wanted to overthrow Syria, and they again expand their borders, immediately take on territory and sell us absolute nonsense. We're talking about funding Hamas. Bibi Netanyahu funded Hamas. There is footage of Bibi Netanyahu saying this stuff on camera. So it's just so ridiculous to me to pretend that they're in some predicament, that they may be eradicated soon, which is why they have to keep funding all of these terrorist groups and then pretending that they're victims of terror, when in fact they are people that are imparting it worldwide. You know, I just think that, like I said, Generation 9/11 has grown up, and I think that our eyes are very clear here, and we recognize that our relationship with Israel has become increasingly problematic, and it always was problematic.
It's official. Candace Owens has lost her fucking mind. I was going to refrain to comment on this because I just thought, you know what, let's agree to disagree. If nothing else, this proves that MAGA's not a cult, because we don't all blindly follow Donald Trump. Although I respect every decision that he has made, and I am still a supporter. Even I questioned, is this a good thing when the bomb hit the facility? Would it lead to war? But because I said, you know what, I'm going to hold back my comments. I'm going to wait and let's see how this pans out, because I trust this man. That's why I voted for him. What she is saying is aligning. She sounds like a fucking Democrat. And besides the fact that, like, just what she's saying, watching her on Piers Morgan, like, she used to be so calculated. She would sit quiet. She would let people bury themselves, and then she would really intelligently pick them apart. No, she was just irately talking over him, screaming, sounding like a fucking lunatic leftist. I'm so upset because I just wanted to agree to disagree with her and hope that maybe she would come around. But she has lost her ever-loving fucking mind.
I've been predicting this for months, and to be honest, I didn't see it, but I do now. Oh yes, I see it loud and clear. The Candace Owens switch-up is real. And honestly, it's sad to see because I love Candace Owens. But I also want to preference this by saying I am not turning against Candace Owens because she doesn't agree with Donald Trump or what Donald Trump does. I mean, for Candace Owens to come on her platform and say that Donald Trump is a huge disappointment, like what? What? The man has been in office all of 5 months. You were one of the people in November, and leading up to November, you were with Charlie Kirk, arguing with liberals, arguing with left-leaning, hard-headed Democrats, and you were getting so heated and passionate, and how much you wanted Donald Trump to win, and how much you said that he was the best candidate that we could have at this point. So that's what her response is. She doesn't regret her vote, but she is hugely disappointed in Donald Trump. All because of why? Because Donald Trump did what no other president could do or wanted to do, and he got rid of Iran's nuclear sites. Iran should not have nuclear weapons, and this is putting America first. For people saying that he wasn't putting America first, he was, because it was a huge threat to the whole world for Iran to have these nuclear weapons. She then goes on talking about how she wouldn't support a regime change in Iran, but she'd support a regime change in Israel.
Maga supporters have turned their backs on Candace Owen. Can you believe it, guys? Now, Candace Owen, she was a big voice, especially on the YouTube platform for Donald Trump and Maga in general. She was always a controversial figure. You know, many black Americans kind of saw Candace, they called her a sellout because she worked so much alongside Maga and Maga supporters and of course President Donald Trump. But it seems that might have come to an end because Maga supporters themselves have turned their backs on Candace. The reason being is her stance on the Israel-Iran war. This is one of the main reasons. Candace has came out and said she doesn't believe America should be backing Israel. She believes that Israel is the one starting and funding terrorism in the Middle East, and she believes that America is the reason for Iran's hatred towards the West, that if America didn't go over to the Middle East and kill millions of civilians and people, as she says, none of this wouldn't have happened. Now, of course, MAGA supporters are not happy. They believe she has been paid off by the Democrats. She believes she has been given huge amounts of money to come over to the Democrats. There's a lot of people on TikTok, a lot of MAGA supporters calling them out. But I noticed if you go into a comment sections, a lot of people are saying that they are paid. That a lot of these TikTok people have been paid to speak out against Candace. Now, you don't know which to believe or what to believe, but Candace, of course, she had that interview with Piers Morgan. That's the main point. Candace had an interview with Piers Morgan. It's not the first time. They've had it many, many times. But this one has made MAGA supporters turn their backs on her. Like I say, the Israel-Iran war, it has a lot of eyeballs on there. America got involved with them destroying what they call a nuclear facility. A lot of American MAGA supporters are coming out saying that it was rightful, it was righteous, that they had, that Iran can't have such weapons, they have to destroy weapons. But like I say, how many times have we heard that from America? How many times have we heard America say that some country has weapons of mass destruction? How many times have we heard that the world's greatest terrorist is leading some country you've never heard of? How many times have we heard it from them, and then for them later to say, hey, remember 10 years ago when we said that this country had weapons of mass destruction? It turns out they didn't. We lied. We actually went there for some other reason, but don't worry. Some new country you've never heard of before just so happens to have the same shit we told you last time, but this time it's real. Until 10 years later, they tell you again that they had alternative reasons. But a lot of people, like I say, they're not happy with Candace. She's always been controversial. She's always said, you know, controversial things. I generally believe she says a lot of the controversial things because it gets her channel to move, it gets her political things to move. People nowadays, they say controversial things because it's what the people want, whether they realize it or not. This is not a new format. Going back decades to the birth of newspapers, you know, they would put controversial things in their newspaper, whether they believed it or not, just to sell it. It's what people want. It's why reality TV is everywhere. People love controversy, they love controversial things, and now it's just trying to understand, is Candace saying things to be controversial, or is she saying it because she believes it? But MAGA supporters seem to think she believes it, and well, whatever you believe, if it's not aligned to what they believe, they use the same format. They've already came out and said, hey, she's lost her mind, she's going crazy, I think both sides, they are bad in both sides. There's a lot of wrong in both sides. Yes, there's a lot of good in both sides. But I mean, in times of war, to try and pick a side over, you know, two countries that are fundamentally wanting domination over whatever, the people themselves are not involved. The civilians themselves are not involved. I think the civilians should always be left out of it. And like I say, never let the country you were born in to tell you to hate another country based on some whatever. reason, like I say, at the very top, the elites, they are doing these things for their own personal gain. They are doing things for their own personal wealth, their own personal money. They will never, ever, ever spread that wealth out to the people. So it's really not it's not in the interest of the people, how they like to call it. But I feel Candace, for the best part, tried to say that, but it doesn't come off so well. But Maga supporters have turned against her. It's like, and this is why you should never really align yourself to a political party, because they want you 100% in that political party. And if you try to outsource your ideas to something else, if you try to sit there and you say, hey, well, wait a minute, this other political party said something interesting there, all of a sudden you'll be called a traitor, you'll be called this, you'll be called that, because they need your 100% undying, ultimate devotion to that, and you need to be focused 100% and almost give yourself, fall to your hands and knees and give yourself completely to a political party, regardless of what they say or what they do. And we are seeing the outcomes of that. Candace Owen expressed her beliefs, whether you believe it right or wrong. She expressed her beliefs for another, which you might say align more to the Democratic Party. And almost immediately, it took few minutes, the MAGA supporters have turned against her. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think it's deserved that the MAGA supporters have turned on her? Or do you think that Candace Owens is trying to do what perhaps journalists should do and speak about both sides fairly? You know, keep it 50-50 and let the viewer decide themselves whether they want to believe this side or that side. Or do you believe she's, like some people have said, have been paid? Who knows? But let me know in the comments. Well, this has been Reaction Call. I'll see you next time. Peace.